someone disrespects you. They'll call you by your name, disrespect you, call you names, whatever the situation is. You're presented with two options here. Option A, you call them out by their name and then say, this is just who I am. This is me in this situation, and that's that. Or the second option, you think about what it is that you want to say to this person in this moment in time. You think about it. You think, what do I want the end goal of what it is I'm going to say to be? You think about, like, literally, who do I want to be known for in this moment? What do I want the result from this moment to be? Option A is you reacting to a situation, and option B is you responding to a situation. Reactions are based on impulse, who I am. Responses are based on conscious thought, who I want to be. What do I want to be known for? Hi, my name is Lucy. Welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about reactions versus responses. Reactions are impulsive things that you do. You don't have to think about it. It's an automatic thing for you to do, right? Someone slaps you, you want to slap them back. It's automatic. It's things that happen so deep in your subconscious that you don't have to think about how you're going to react to the situation, right? These reactions come from either things that you've observed. So if, for example, if you grew up in an environment where fun was always associated with drinking, with alcohol, then when you grow up, the moment someone says, hey, want to have fun, whenever the word fun is mentioned, you automatically associate adult fun with alcohol because it is something that you have observed. And then you have reactions that are inherited. If you feel overwhelmed, whenever you feel overwhelmed, you just want to shrink yourself, you want to hide away. These are things that you haven't actually observed. You haven't seen your parents do this. You haven't seen your caregivers do this. It's just something that's just so innate in you, and you just automatically do it. And then when you actually probably get to a later stage in life and ask your parents how do they react when they are overwhelmed, they end up doing the same thing. But it's something that you never actually saw, you just automatically knew to do because it is something that you have inherited. Mindsets are also inherited. These are the things that you didn't necessarily pick up by observation, but you just naturally know how to do. Some of them are caused by you inheriting it from your bloodline, from your family, right? And then we have primary response type of reactions. Primary response is basically your very first reaction to a specific thought, emotion, life circumstance, and then from then on your brain basically takes that and uses it as a blueprint and says, this is how I'm going to react when I'm faced with this input. So if input is that you get slapped, and the first time you get slapped, your immediate reaction was to slap someone back, your brain takes that and says, okay, this is now how we respond to this situation, and it's going to repeat that forever and ever until you decide that no, I don't want to do that anymore, right? Reactions are things that are imprinted in your brain. You've done them so many times that it just becomes an automatic thing, right? Your brain is literally a learning system. You just put inputs, it's input and output type of thing, and your brain just wants you to have the quickest input and the quickest output, right? And so the thing that outputs the easiest is the thing that you've done for the longest time. So if again, every time you are confronted with conflict, your response is to run away, it's because you've run away so many times that your brain automatically knows that this input is conflict, meaning the output is run away, right? Your brain literally works like that, inputs and outputs. So that's reacting, right? Reactions are literally things that you don't have to think about. They automatically happen, and they automatically happen because you've either gained this reaction from observation, you can also have gained it from, you've inherited it, or it is something that you gain from primary response. No one taught you this, you didn't observe it anyway, you didn't just feel like doing it out of nowhere, you were just presented with the opportunity, and because the first time you were presented with this opportunity you slapped someone, then for the rest of your life you're going to continue to do that until you put a stop to it. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but for the next couple of seconds I kept on saying reacting instead of responding, so just hear me say responding instead of hearing me say reacting, and then you'll hear me say respond later on. Back to regular programming. And then we have reactions. Reactions are more thought out things. Reactions are not impulsive. Reactions are, you think about it. Reactions are times where you take to pause and actually think about what it is that you want to do with this input, right? Reactions are very conscious things. There are things where something happens, someone slaps you, you take the time to think about, okay, what do I want to do next? It's not an impulsive thing, it's a well thought out response. That's a response. You think about it, right? Responses are things that are, you get them from your identity, goal oriented, character and the likes, with responses and how your response is dependent on your identity. If someone comes to you and slaps you, you think about your identity to say, but who do I want to be known as? What do I want to be known for? So that's a response, is when you have a specific end goal in mind. A response thinks about, what do I want to be known for? Who am I trying to be? And then how do I move in a way where I still am that person? So if someone slaps you and you want to be known for how graceful you are or how forgiving you are, if someone like cusses you out, say now you have an argument with your friend, right? And this friend of yours some way somehow disrespects you, you now, when you responding is you now considering that, okay, this is my friend, what she said hurt me, it disrespected me, but now I can either react and just cuss her out, also show her where I am, give her a piece of my mind and stuff because I'm fighting for my character, or fight for your character by actually being the thing that you're trying to fight for. If she says that I'm disrespectful and I know for a fact I'm not disrespectful, then it means when I come into this conflict, when I'm talking to my friend now, I'm very mindful of how I respond to it. Because now, instead of saying that, hey, you call me disrespectful and I'm not disrespectful, you actually act in a respectful manner. So if she says, you're this and the third, then you take the time now to say, okay, I'm not those things. How do I now communicate that I'm not those things by actually communicating that I'm not those things? Instead of you talking in a disrespectful way, you approach it by actually being respectful, because that's the type of person that you want to be. One of the characteristics that you want to be known for is that this person is respectful, this person is kind, this person is thoughtful. And this means now when you are now dealing with this conflict between you and your friend, you're gonna have that in mind. You're gonna have a sense of your identity and who you are and who you're trying to be in mind as you're responding. Your response is calculated around, how do I still maintain that certain characteristic of mine, that character trait of mine, that I am respectful while dealing with a situation where I was faced with a lot of disrespect, right? It's also in like goal oriented, right? So goal oriented, if you know that I want to get to point B, you are now faced with a situation, a trigger that wants you to react. And reacting is point A. And if you know that, okay, I am now someone, I don't know, I'm at Woolies now, I'm feeling a bit emotional, I want a cake. But now your goal, Mobopilong, is that you want to lose weight. Then now, instead of reacting, and yes, normally whenever you would be sad or emotional, you'd go to Woolies, get yourself a cake, and then just eat it. That's something that you've learned over time. That's your reaction. If your goal now is to lose weight, then it means that even on that day when you are emotional, you have to sit and think, okay, but if I eat this cake, a whole cake by myself, am I actually going to get closer to my goal of losing weight, or am I going to get further and further away from losing weight? That's a goal-oriented reaction. You think about, what do I want the outcome to be from this thing? Same thing with conflict in a friendship. If your friend disrespects you and like, okay, whatever situation, hey, there's drama there, you have to now think about, okay, but do I still want this person to be my friend? If the goal is for the friendship to still stand, then it means in the way that you respond to your friend, you need to consider, okay, but I still love her. I still love her. I still value this friendship. Wara wara fish paste. And then from that situation, then now you move in a way where the goal is still the same, that I still want for us to be friends. So how do I now respond in a way that allows for us to be friends? How do I communicate? This means that you'll be more mindful of the words that you choose. You don't just say, yeah, when I style, Jandine, you don't like come with those type of words, because those are words that are putting you towards the direction of fracturing your friendship and like the friendship ending. You will now still be like, okay, friend, you will still address your friend by friend, even if they spoke crazy to you, you'll still address them by friend, words of endearment, because you still want the friendship to be a thing. So that's responding is keeping your identity in mind. Who am I and who do I want to be? mainly who do I want to be, but who am I and who do I want to be? What do I want to be known for? And then you respond accordingly. Or what is the purpose? What do I want the resolve from the situation to be? If my goal is that I want to lose weight, that means when I'm emotional, I can't go eat a cake, I must go eat a carrot or find another way to release my emotions that's still going to keep me on track to reaching the destination of losing weight, right? So with reacting and responding, why we tend to react more than we do respond is because our brain craves safety and satisfaction. And reacting is a form of safety in your brain because our brains don't understand safety the way we understand safety, right? So for your brain, safety is the thing that you are most familiar with. And that can be literally something so dangerous, right? Example, like if you're stressed, your brain is going to view smoking as safety, but then the reality of the situation is smoking is like literally killing your lungs. Hello, cancer. I'm knocking at your door. The cancer is knocking at your door. But anyways, safety. Your brain views familiarity as safety. And familiarity is not safe all the time. That's how someone can be in a toxic relationship and not know that the relationship that they're in is toxic. If you look at the environment that they were raised in, it's a very toxic household, very toxic household that they grew up in. And so for them, toxicity has now become safe because it is familiar. That's how our brains work. It just takes a familiar thing because that is what makes it feel safe. That's why changing is so difficult. That's why you'll experience so much resistance because your brain is literally like, you're making us do the unsafe thing. You're making us do the thing that we're not used to doing. Where you're making us choose the thing that is unfamiliar, the thing that comes hard for us, the thing that we still have to figure out, is this thing gonna work? Does it work? Oh my gosh, so many hurdles, so many challenges. Whereas your brain just wants to do a thing of A plus B equals C. And now in life you're gonna go through things where it requires you to say, A, I can't do B, let me go look for another alphabet so that I can get to a different outcome, you know? So because your brain is just like a learning thing that just wants to do everything automatic. Everything must be your automated thing. It just wants things to be easy, safe, satisfied, you know? Your brain is just concerned about that. It's just safety and satisfaction. And unfortunately, those where your brain finds those things, it's not, hey, you can't really like trust it, you know? Yeah, I mean, people just don't see that their partner is being abusive or toxic or whatever. Chances are it's just that that's what they have grown up with and this is what is familiar to them, so therefore their brain recognizes it as this is safe because it is familiar. So that's why going from reaction to responding is so difficult, because your brain just loves the safe and satisfying thing. Your brain likes the easy way out. And the older you get, excuses like, I'm just like this, they don't suffice anymore. Because now when you get older, we now all understand that no, but you really do have a choice. You have a choice to respond, sorry, not to react. You have a choice to say, okay, but yes, this is how I was, but do I really want to keep being that person? If every time you slap another person, do I really want to keep being that person? No. If not, then you now do the thing of responding and understanding, okay, if I don't want to be someone who slaps people whenever I'm mad, you think, okay, what type of person do I want to be? And you start moving towards that. That's responding, right? So before you can react or respond, you have a trigger. How do we now change going from reacting to responding? You understand your trigger. Whenever you act out in road rage, you must understand what your trigger is. Because sometimes the trigger is not just a beep beep, someone hooting at you and calling you names. Sometimes the trigger is actually that you are hungry. Now you need to pay attention to why, whenever I'm in the car, someone can beep beep one day and I just drive off and I'm fine. But on another day, someone will beep beep and then I pop off at them. My reaction is to pop off of them. And it's simply because you're hungry. All you need to do is go eat. Remind yourself that I'm hungry. I don't have to entertain this road rage. That's a response. Is that you think about, okay, but if I'm going to go scream at this person, why? Just think about, like, what's that going to do for you? What's that going to do for any of us? You know what I'm saying? You think about those things. You think about, okay, the trigger. Why do I want to react in a certain way? And then you act accordingly. Because sometimes the road rage is not necessarily because someone's acting dumb on the road. It's because you're hungry. If I'm hungry, you probably just need to eat. Then in that moment when you want to react and like start cussing people out, you simply just tell yourself, I'm hungry. I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Okay. I can't pop off on this person simply because I'm hungry, you know? So yeah, number one is just awareness. Be aware. What is your trigger? What triggers this response? And then when you meet that place, when you realize that every time you act in road rage is because you are hungry, what does this mean? You start keeping snacks in the car. You start keeping snacks in the car. You keep snacks in the car so that when you're in the car, you have something to nibble on, you know? Yeah, you're not going to be as on the road because you're not a monster anymore. You're not a hungry monster. You're not a hungry monster anymore. You've eaten, so you've actually satisfied whatever it is that you were looking for, right? And then pause. Number two is pause. Pause. Oh my gosh. When you are triggered, there's this small gap between being triggered and then responding. There's a small gap. I'm doing this. It looks this big. But NJ, it's like this. There's a small gap, small window between when you're triggered and when you respond, when you react. There's a small gap between your trigger and the output. A very small gap. Someone's gonna talk crazy to you. Just pause, think in your head. In that time when someone is talking crazy, né? While they're talking crazy, actually, you're listening. While you're listening, you're taking in this thing that while you're listening to all of that, hearing this, understanding this information, processing this information, you're supposed to be coaching yourself in your head to say that, okay, do I want to react or do I want to respond? Because if you want to react, you'll find that you're going to start calling these people, this person names, saying, nah, we sis, we nah, tagati, in, nan. That's you reacting versus, okay, now, what, like, if I respond, what does a response look like? What do I have to think about when I'm responding? You think about who I am. What do I want to be known for? Do I want to be known for Vele as a person who just calls people by names? Or, yeah, do I want to just stay true to myself and know that I'm kind, I'm respectful? So let me think about how to respond in a respectful manner. That's the pause. You pause. Sometimes pausing means you take a step back. Take a step back, go. You and this person must get out of the same place, and you just pause and you actually think. Some pauses are required to be long, and you think about, okay, but now what do I want to gain from this situation? This person just called me this sharp. I'm feeling a bit hurt and stuff, but what do I want to gain from this, you know? Also, if you receive something and you receive it a bit snacks, also just remind yourself of who it is that you're talking to. If someone comes to you and says something sideways, just think about, okay, but who is the type of person that I'm dealing with? Maybe I'm receiving it sideways because I already had a bad day, or I'm just like on defense mode already. You must just think about, but who am I talking to? If my friend is coming to you and saying this, and the third, I must remember who my friend is. That, no man, this girl loves me. If she's telling me this, it's coming from a place of love. She's not disrespecting me, you know? And then move accordingly. But sometimes it is just plain disrespect. But still, you have to move accordingly, you know? Remember who you are. If you don't like the way you've carried out certain things in your life, if you're that type of person who says, this is just the way I am, and you saying this is just the way I am has caused you friendship, has caused you heartbreak, has caused you to be lonely, or whatever the situation is, this is your time to actually just look yourself in the mirror and say, baby girl, you are behaving like a loser. You are behaving like an adult loser. Let me tell you what adult losers are. Adult losers. Losers as an adult. I want to say, this is just the way I am. Yeah, loser. Okay, but I'm actually not joking. That's loser behavior. Just saying, this is me. This is just the way I am. That's loser behavior. And in this life, I don't want you to be a loser. I want you to be a winner. And you know what winners do? Winners do the thing of responding. I know I was talked to disrespectfully. You came to me sideways. But because I'm going to choose to be an adult in this situation and not do what I'm used to usually doing, which is reacting, I'm going to respond. Responding is the winner's way to go about things, to go about life. What costs you many things in life is you just saying, this is the way I am. That's loser behavior. And you're just reacting. Learn to now start responding. How do you respond? Acknowledge. Yo, Lorna, I feel triggered right now. Literally, I feel so triggered right now. And then you pause and you think, okay, what do I want the result of the situation to be? How do you know how to respond and stuff like that? I have a North Star, and that North Star is Jesus. I know that I'm supposed to behave the way Jesus did, and also to bear fruit, as much fruit as possible. And I know what the fruits of the Spirit are. So in my reaction, I always think, one, am I being like Jesus in this? And two, am I bearing fruit in this situation? How do I respond in a way that is going to make me bear fruit and be like Jesus? You know, if you're not saved, or not topa fell, you just look, just think about it. Just think about the type of person that you want to be. I mean, even like believers. Let me not go there. Do you see? I just responded. Do you see? I just responded to myself. Do you see? I just responded to myself because I'm gonna say something so sideways, but because I change her as a person, because I'm choosing to respond and not to react. I'm holding my mouth because I understand that digital footprint is a thing. And sometimes I will say something that's a joke, but I must remember that certain jokes are meant to be made behind doors. I can't say them on a public platform, unfortunately. If you're not saved, if you don't have Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and you don't have a North Star, hey, North Star, hey, go topper the North Stars. Look at people and just see what type of person is this person. You know, if this is where I'm trying to go, if this is my goal, Mobile, how do I react in a way that's going to get me to that goal? Yeah, you just think about that. Look at people, be inspired. Look outside, be inspired. And then take that inspiration and use it as your North Star. That's how you do it. But yeah, that's it for me. Responding versus reacting. Losers react, winners respond. Be a winner. Win a chicken dinner. And shame in the moments where you do react, you get into reaction mode. Just have grace for yourself. Understand that learn how I change, how I learn, but actually do the changing and learn. Don't just stop at I'm changing, I'm learning, I'm trying. Do the learning and trying. Apply the thing. But that's it from me. Until the next time you see my face on your screen. Bye.